Okay, I was taking so long with the last one that I decided to make it into 2 videos. So this part is mostly fiction or manageable, not manageable, well illustrated books beyond the general nonfiction. So the first one I'm starting out with is not fiction. In fact, the first set is not necessarily fiction, but they are kids' books that will be attractive as any of the other fiction might be. So like, this is Secrets of the Rainforest. So these are Shine a Light books, and I got like most of them. I have Secrets of the Rainforest, and I have a Shine a Light on the space station. So because we really like science and the space station, I'm gonna just go ahead and skip ahead to the space station one. So like, you will open this up and you can see by shining a light through the book, you can't see it here, but basically a lot of this will show up on the previous page. Okay, so by shining a light under this page, you'll get to see details come through. So up here, once you shine a light, I didn't prepare myself with a flashlight, but there's a little light you can shine through and see the space station in that upper corner here of their window, and you can see through the details, and it goes through the story in ways that you can see things appear on the pages. They're really, really cool. You need to try these out if you want. If you live in Kansas City, I can show you in person. It shows a little bit better. And then I have Amelia Who Could Fly. This is one of my favorites because I am just, in case you couldn't tell, I'm highly into illustrations. In fact, you'll see a few more collections that I have that I probably got just because I thought they were pretty. I'm completely guilty of that. But Amelia Who Could Fly is a really cute story about Amelia Earhart. But just look at those pictures. This is a great beginner reading book. They have phonics books that I have since given away. But my daughter learned to read with Usborne first reading books that introduced sounds and had like kind of team reading where the parents would read one side of the page and the kids would read according to the sounds they were learning. New words and sounds introduced as they leveled up to each new book. Really, really cool. And they also have phonics readers for those who prefer to go that direction. But this is just, there's this, and then there's a Cinderella one, which is around here somewhere. I'm not going to show you all my Usborne books, but this is already quite the collection for you. Bears Don't Read. For the reluctant reader, I highly recommend reading this book because it's really neat and teaches you the child in a kind of a silly way. A beautiful story about a bear who loves to read, and he ends up loving to read, but he finds a book and he kind of wants to know what this book is all about, but he kind of gets attacked and people are scared of him because he's a bear and he's coming into the library or coming into the city, and they want to know what this is all about. And then this kid kind of like introduces him to books, and really, really super cute. Cuddle Bear. I don't know if they're still doing this. A lot of times this is used in fundraisers, but you can buy an actual Cuddle Bear, which I have a few around here. But it's about this cute bear who goes around giving hugs and cuddles and making everybody's day super sweet. A lot of times Cuddle Bear has been used. You can do a Cuddle Bear kind of, what's it called? Not a fundraiser. You're not raising funds, but you're like, you buy a bunch of Cuddle Bears and Cuddle Bear books. You can hand them out in pediatric wings and stuff like that. really super cute. But you could also just have one for yourself if you love cuddles like I do. And this book, oh, this is one of our favorites. How Big is a Million? This penguin, there's also How Deep is the Sea? And I am not sure. I saw it somewhere when I was going through, but I was trying to dig everything out super fast. But it actually comes in the back with a little envelope thing, and there's a poster with a million, I think it has 1,000,000 stars on it. How Deep is the Sea? It's a rather large poster, and it talks about the different layers of the sea, and very, very well illustrated. But this cute, adorable penguin goes around asking people how big is a million and if they've seen a million of anything. And it's just, if you like the Nancy, what is her last name? Those bear books like God Gave Me Easter and God Gave Us Sleep and those kinds of books. This is very similar concept, very similar style of illustration and exploration, and just equally adorable. But it talks about a million, and the other one is How Deep is the Sea? Same little penguin. Super, super cute. I keep using the word super. I'm sorry. I will get my vocabulary together. And the last one for the lower ages is Usborne Stories Around the World for little children. And I also think I have one for older children. Yes, I do. Which I'll show you a little bit. Oh, but the Usborne illustrated books are my weakness, and I can't get enough. They also have a few that are on my wish list, like the Odyssey and like unabridged versions of some classic stories that are also so beautiful. It's funny, I keep saying super and so. These are not words that I would allow my daughter to use in her writing, but, well, I wouldn't right now, but not at my level. But these are some lovely younger age and illustrated by different people. In fact, this is a collection of books that I believe some of these were in individual form on Usborne for a while. I think I even have one or two of them. So you can see how they're illustrated by different people and different styles. But all of them, yes, this is the one I have separately. Why is the Sea Salty? So you can get these in the individual versions, or you can buy the collection. And that's true of a lot of these illustrated collections. You can buy the individual collections, individual stories, but it's usually well worth it to just buy the whole collection. So I have, for example, illustrated adventure stories. It has the Three Musketeers. It's got the Count of Monte Cristo. It's got, and look at these. Look at these illustrations. Don't they just cry out to your heart and make you want, just so glad that you're a mother, that you can rediscover beauty. And these are chapter books. Not all of them are. Some of these, so like illustrated stories from Aesop. So those of you going through the Aesop's fables for some of our, again, story outlines, these are illustrated, and these are shorter, obviously much easier reading levels. Well illustrated as always, but these are shorter stories. So the Aesop's illustrated is much shorter than something like illustrated adventure stories, which comes in chapters and goes through the Count of Monte Cristo, Three Musketeers, Prisoner of Zenda, Don Quixote, 39 Steps. But again, I just can't get enough of the illustrated stuff. So I have illustrated stories. I have illustrated books of horses and ponies. Again, I also have Black Beauty somewhere around here. That's one of the classic ones, which, man, I should find that and show that to you. If I do, maybe I'll post it on this party. But look at these beautiful illustrations. And they have some wonderful, again, these are shorter stories. So I guess this may not have Black Beauty because some of these are much, much shorter. So like Clever Katya. Look how beautiful that is. And this one is only a few pages long. So it's pretty manageable for some of your lower level readers, and also for those of you going through some of the keyword outlines. I just can't get enough of the illustrations in this one, although there are some of these as well with the larger illustrations. Other illustrated ones I have are illustrated stories of princes and princesses, and Hans Christian Andersen fairy tales. I believe there is also a Grimm's fairy tales, Greek mythology. I have illustrated classics for children. This is another good one for your beginning readers. Larger illustration, less words, easier words. But this one has the Railway Children. This is the one that has Black Beauty. Yeah, this one has Black Beauty, but not the unabridged version, because they have unabridged classics and they have varying levels of some of those classics as well. As like Shakespeare, they have some of the more summarized ones, and then they have larger collections for more advanced. So definitely look at the age group that you'll be talking to. This has The Secret Garden, Around the World in 80 Days, Heidi, Moonfleet, The Canterville Ghost, Wizard of Oz, Black Beauty, Railway Children. I can't get enough. As you will see, I have Arabian Nights and the illustrated stories from around the world at a higher level than the one that's for little children, but still not quite at the level as, for example, the illustrated stories. And if you go on the website, you will be able to see fairly closely to where the picture is. You can look for age specifications if you want an idea on which level your illustrated books are. But I highly recommend it, really for all ages. And I saved, this is not last, but for the last of the illustrated one, I saved one of my favorites. I will admit that before they came out with this, I was desperate for Usborne's version of Pride and Prejudice, and so I went and I won't say I bought it on the black market because it wasn't per se the black market, but I went through other channels to try to buy some of their classic literature, which they have since published in a much easier way. And so I ended up redeeming myself by buying the complete Jane Austen. Again, this, a lot more words, as you can see. And they've got the story there. Okay, this is the complete Jane Austen. There are other books that have slightly lower levels of reading, but this still has some very beautiful illustrations. And honestly, I am of the feeling that as adults we've lost track of illustrations and the art behind illustrations, because look at this. Who wouldn't want something like this while they were in front of them while they were reading Mansfield Park? And they have this for each of their stories, which is, again, really cool for that outline that some of you know what I'm referring to. But they have a few really well illustrated pages in here. And that's what I love about, they're not all illustrated. Not all of Usborne is illustrated, but I tend to gear towards the illustrated books. Now the last two I'm going to show you, and I only show you these two and not some of the in-between grades because I can't find, I may have given away The Magic Pony and Ella Diaries, which are some, I'd say, 3rd grade level-ish chapter books. Some of your beginning chapter books that are also really special. Audrey loved them. The Secret Mermaid and Little Fairy Ponies, I believe it was. And then Ella Diaries. And she really loved those for a while, but I do believe I gave them away. And this book, this next book, she thought was really cool. And it's hard for her to really enjoy a book. She struggles with reading, maybe a little dyslexia, I'm not sure. But this is something she really enjoyed, How to Win a Nobel Prize. So in this book, I'll just read the back. It says, one day Mary stumbles on a secret meeting of Nobel Prize winners. So it's a fictional character going through a fictional story, but meeting up with people from the past who, like Mary Curie, Watson and Wilkins, talking about Albert Einstein. They talk space and time with Albert Einstein, radiation with Mary Curie, DNA with Crick, Watson, and Wilkins, and much more. I love this book. Audrey loved this book because it's a really interesting way to interact with the past. And finally, this is another book that I just recently bought, so I can't tell you much about it because, I mean, it came maybe a week ago and I haven't gotten into it yet. But it looks really interesting. The Travels of Ermine, and it's kind of written, it's written in a story, but it's a world tour, and she interacts with various places throughout the book. So the book can almost be broken into different places. So the first part is Trouble in New York. And let me see if there's a table of contents here, because like I said, we just got this. In the beginning, this is really cool. How to make a travel scrapbook like Ermine. And some of the pages are really neat illustrations and ways of writing. Where's the one I wanted to show you? Look at that. So it looks big. It's actually probably a really great way to introduce some of the larger books because it looks big, but it's also very, very manageable and easily broken into pieces, into parts. So I can't wait till Audrey goes into this, and then she makes a collage after her different experiences. So that's just a few examples of what I have. And I've already spent about an hour going through all these books with you. So, hope it's not too much. Hope you got through some of it. Maybe I should tell you later to fast forward or skip through and see what you like. But those are my recommendations. There's lots more. There's lots more around my house. I just grabbed what was by me, so obviously I'm an addict. Hello, my name is Amber. I'm an Usborne addict. I do not sell, but I certainly contribute to the Usborne economy. So I hope you enjoy, and if you have any questions, you can certainly ask. You can certainly ask me, and if I have the answer, I'd certainly be glad to answer. But you can also ask our lovely consultant. So thanks.